Hey guys, so I decided to make another video today. I really love doing tag videos like I said before, so I'm going to make another one. So this one is the throwback tag, and I'm kind of excited because I'm a 90s baby, even though people consider me to be a 2000s baby because I wasn't really born where I'd be like growing up in the 90s. But I guess I'll get started with the actual video. So the first question is, what year were you born in? I was born in December of 1996, so I was just barely a freaking 96 baby. Do you have any pictures of yourself from when you were younger? If so, show them. I do have pictures from when I'm younger, so I will try to insert them somewhere in the video to let you see a little bit of pictures of me. I don't have very many at all, honestly. My parents had a big house fire when I was little, and all of my baby pictures got destroyed besides very few, so I will hopefully be able to upload somewhere in this video some pictures of me as a baby. What TV show did you grow up watching? I remember the most show that I grew up watching was, besides like when I was really little, like Teletubbies and Dora the Explorer. Those were like two things that I would watch all the time. I remember Rugrats as well was like a big number thing for me. And I would watch Courage the Cowardly Dog too, but I'd get really scared of Courage the Cowardly Dog. So like I wouldn't watch that all the time, but if like everybody was awake and it was daytime and it was on, I would definitely watch it, but not at night. I usually would stick to like the Rugrats for sure. What did you want to be when you grew up, and do you still want to be that now? I changed a lot. One of the #1 things I always wanted to be was an actress, for as long as I can remember, or a nurse, like a doctor or a nurse, or like a detective type of thing. Acting, I have found out I'm terrible at. I cannot act worth shit. Detective, I would love to be that someday. I feel like going to school again for another however many years it would take to do that would be a long time, but if I ever get the time to do it and the effort to put forward, I would definitely do that. To be a nurse, I have found out I suck at math and science. Well, I'm not bad at chemistry, but everything else dealing with science, like the human body, the things that you need to know to be a nurse or a doctor, I'm not very good at. So I definitely don't really think any of those I want to be anymore, honestly. It says to show a video of myself when I was younger, and I actually have no videos of when I was younger. What's the most embarrassing thing that you can remember doing? This is gonna be really embarrassing to tell. I remember my parents had a friend, I think named Dan, and I think this was when we were in Chicago, so I was between the ages of 3 and 6, and I remember this. They told me to bite Dan's balls, and he was sitting there on the couch with his legs like all manly, and I went over and bit his balls, and everybody thought it was so funny, and that's disgusting, and why I did it I will never know. So there you go, there's something that's extremely embarrassing about me. Sister, read something I wrote when I was in kindergarten. Again, a lot of my stuff as a kid got destroyed, or I do have some snippets of stuff that I wrote in like reading language books. We had like, as kids, I don't know if they have this anymore, but you would get like your own personal book and you would like rip out the pages for homework and like write sentences and stuff on it. I have a bunch of those books that I did, but those are all at my boyfriend's house in storage, so I don't have anything with me of when I was in kindergarten. But I might be able to find a picture of me when I was in kindergarten. I think I was reading a book. What were your favorite toys to play with? There was this Teletubby. I think I had the red one. I don't remember what Teletubby that was, but it's like a 90s toy, I'm guessing. It's like where the stomach, like the square part, you pressed it and it would light up and sing and play songs, and it was like a Teletubby like this big. I freaking carried that thing everywhere with me, everywhere I would go. Like I loved that toy so much. And then I had a Hello Kitty cash register that I played with all the freaking time that I got for Christmas that I almost didn't get because I like looked at my, actually I think it was my birthday present. I looked in my parents' like van and saw it, and like they were like, gotta take it back. So I think those were the two toys that I can remember playing with and loving the most. 3 songs you loved to listen to as a child. There is a freaking song by, I think her name's Aliyah. She had passed away actually. She was like a popular singer like in the early 2000s. And she had a song, I don't remember what it was called. It was like I'll Miss You or something like that. I don't remember. And I remember loving that song as a kid. Like every time I'd be upset crying, my parents would turn that song on and I would just stop. Like, I loved it. That's really the only song that I can remember that I really liked and could actually remember listening to it, like, as a really little kid. What was one funny thing you dressed up as for Halloween when you were younger? I don't really remember, like, any little, like, when I was really little of Halloween costumes. Honestly, the only one I can ever remember from when I was little was, I think I was Snow White one time. That's the only thing I can really remember. I think I was usually just princesses, things like that, never anything too crazy or funny. Tell a funny story of something you remember happening when you were young. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, but now that I look back at it and like what had happened, my mom was best friends with a lady named Anne, and that's where I got my middle name. My parents and her boyfriend at the time, like, she had, I believe, like 4 or 5 kids. Like, we were all like in the same kind of age range. And I don't remember where this was. Honestly, I don't really remember much about it other than we were at Anne's house, and Anne and my parents and her boyfriend all decided to pretend like someone broke in, murdered Anne. My mom and dad were disappeared, and then Anne's boyfriend pretended to be a murderer and would run around the house, and my mom and dad would run around like outside of the house, like banging on the windows with all of us kids. My mom and dad had 4 kids, and then Anne, I think, had 4 at the time as well. And we were all ages like 13 to like 4 or 5, and I remember like being so fucking terrified, and Anne was just like had ketchup all over her and was laying on the ground pretending to be dead. They cut all like the phone wires. At that time you don't have cell phones, so like if the power was out, like you literally couldn't call anybody because like the house phone's out, so like you have no one to call, and like we were all too scared to leave. And like I remember, I think it was my older sister, we were all like, it was like the most dramatic thing ever. We were all surrounded around Anne, laying on the floor, like shaking her, like, Anne, wake up! Oh my God, help us! We're so scared! And my sister was like, I smell ketchup, and Anne just starts cracking up. Like, Anne can't hold it together. She's just like bawling from laughing so hard. And so my parents come in and they're all like, ha ha ha, joke. Like, no wonder my childhood was really traumatic, and no wonder I'm so messed up. But I just remember like my sister being like, I smell ketchup, being like the funniest thing. And like now that I look back at it, it was funny for like my parents. But yeah, that was really the funny thing that I can remember as a child. So the next question, are there any special things you've kept from when you were a child? I kept all of my stuffed animals that I slept with as a kid. I slept with, I think, 3 bears. And I also kept a Beanie Baby. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I think it's also like an early 2000s, late 90s thing. Like, you know the Beanie Babies, like the actual baby, and they like would dress them up in like costumes, like, you know, like the big baby with like the sunflower hat, like those type of babies. I had one that had a squirrel costume, and it was like a baby size one, and I kept that, except for I think I cut the tail off. And then I also have all of my Bratz dolls. I was so obsessed. Oh, that was another toy that I played with all the time. I can't believe I forgot about that. Bratz freaking dolls were like my thing. Fuck Barbie. Like, Bratz dolls was where it was at for me. And I actually gave all of those to my second cousin, but I still have like contact with them, and I think I'm actually gonna take them back from my aunt once my second cousin like kind of grows out of them, so I can give them to my children. What was something weird you used to do as a child? I still sometimes do it. I would shake my head and like move my arms and call it the swim. I don't know, I'm like really weird. What's the scariest thing you remember happening to you when you were younger? The story that I just told, that was also the funniest thing. And the last question, how is the world different from how it was like when you were a child? Cell phones weren't a thing, iPads weren't a thing, MP3 players weren't a thing, technology wasn't really a thing, internet really wasn't a thing. PlayStation 2 was around, but not very many games. There wasn't any Wii, there was GameCube. Just technology has expanded so freaking much. Like, there's cell phones. Kids that were my age when I was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 even as younger than that, like, they have cell phones and they have iPads, and they like don't play outside. When I was little, my play was literally, I would take my Bratz dolls and go outside in my backyard with my best friend, and we would build houses out of branches and dirt and leaves, and like build like little beds for them, and build dressers out of leaves and stuff, and use imagination, play with our Bratz dolls in the dirt and stuff. Or we would be weird and like stick dirt and leaves and stuff in our hair and like go crazy and run around and roll in the dirt. Or we would, one of my favorite things to do as a kid was take chalk and we would go on like the middle. We lived in a big cul-de-sac and there was like huge, like a circle of just of cement, and like nobody drove in our cul-de-sac. I don't know why, but like it was just a really kind of out there away from everybody. So we would draw our like houses, if that makes sense, like draw our rooms and like draw dressers and draw our bed and draw toilets and kitchens out of chalk, and like that's what we would do as kids. But now kids, I hardly see them playing outside or like being creative in any way, honestly. I see them glued with an iPad or with a cell phone or with an iPod. Like they're so connected to the internet. It's like such a different world from when I was little, and Bratz dolls and Barbies were a cool thing, and like race cars and like trucks for kids, like boys. But like it's just such a different time, honestly. And girls are maturing faster. Like when I was 12, I did not wear like any makeup. I just started shaving my legs. I did not own thongs. And now like a 12-year-old today looks older than I do. Like they look mature. They know how to do makeup better than I do. And I just think that's kind of crazy how times have changed a lot just from when I was a baby to now. And so I can't even imagine when I grow up and have kids that are my age what their childhoods would be like and how different the world is when they're my age now. Like it's crazy to even think about how the world's gonna change even more. Like it's almost unimaginable how much, like what else could change, honestly. Like it's so hard to even fathom the fact that it's going to change, but it's like you can't even comprehend how. Like in 2000, at the end of 2007 in December, there's gonna be the first het transplant. Like things are, like technology is just increasing, even with the medical field, and everything is changing so much. Like it's kind of creepy and weird, and like, I don't know, like it's just weird to think about. So those are my questions. That's my tag video question. I actually really liked this one. I love talking about like 90s, early 2000s. If you want to hear anything about from that time era of my life, a lot of my memories really hazed from that time because I did have a lot of traumatic things going on at that time, but I do know a couple of fun stories and funny stories, sad stories, whatever, from that time. And I could also tell you, like do a little bit more research because I don't remember a lot. I could find like my favorite toys like more in detail, or like favorite music that I listened to, and I could ask my mom some more input about what I was like as a kid if you want to see any more videos about me as a kid. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm close to 200. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.